Hello, everybody. My name is Bailey. Welcome to Authors Go for Broke. I am so excited to have you here with me. I have an amazing author, and he is from my home state, so I'm extra excited. He's from Colorado, and his name is Aidan McCollum. And I would really like for him to introduce himself. So come on and say hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Can you just tell everyone a little bit about yourself, like who you are, where you're from, how old you are, anything like that?
Yeah. So I am Aidan McCollum. I am from Colorado. I am 16 years old and I write post-apocalyptic fiction.
End of the world. I love how you pick such a specific genre, just like right off the bat. You're like, this end of the world is what I like to write about.
It's definitely what I started reading when I thought about writing. It's
Oh,
not the first genre I've wrote in, but it's definitely my favorite.
see, that's great. That's great. It's so good to, it's actually really hard for some people to write outside of what they like to read in. So, like me, I love reading fantasy novels and I like writing in fantasy as well because you kind of write what you know. So it makes
Yep.
sense.
It gives you, when you're reading the same genre, you kind of can go off of what other people do and get you ideas there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So can you just tell us a little bit about what your everyday is like when you're not writing a book?
A lot of spend a lot of time writing. When I'm not writing, I'm usually doing archery with my family. We're really big into competitive archery, so I've traveled all over the US this year, going to
Oh my
shoots,
gosh.
tournaments. It's a lot of fun.
Does your entire family compete or just you and they go with you?
Yeah, me and my parents both all compete. Yeah, it's a lot of
That's
fun.
amazing. That's amazing. Do they have family events where they can compete in the same competition as you or do you do it together? How did the competitions work?
So in archery, you have classes based on what equipment you have, kind of what age you are, and all that. And so we're all in our own classes, but we compete against each other all the time,
Okay. Well,
naturally.
that's fun. Do you guys keep score? Like there's a rivalry or anything?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. I love that. Do you have any siblings or anything?
No, I'm an only kid.
And I believe you told me in emails when we were just briefly communicating that you were homeschooled. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. What was that
I
like?
should actually say I was homeschooled. I've
Uh,
actually graduated 2 years early.
Round of applause. Bravo.
Thank you.
So, how old are you right now? 16?
I am currently 16, yes.
16. I'm just shocked. I'm shocked that you have already published novels and you're 16 years old. It's blows my mind. I think it's incredible. You should really be proud of yourself. You really should.
I am. It's been a journey.
So, homeschooling is something that when I was younger, it was kind of not as many people did. And then I think that once, especially COVID and even a little bit before that, I think people are starting to have more remote jobs, things like that. People are traveling a little bit more. And I think it's a lot more common to see kids homeschooled. So, do you
Yeah.
feel like do you feel like were there a lot of kids? Do you know a lot of kids that are homeschooled, or are you kind of the only one?
I was originally in public school before COVID and I switched after. So I have a lot
Okay.
of friends. Most of them still stayed in school. And
Oh,
then when I switched over, I didn't really find anyone until I did a couple years, or last year I did a construction academy and met some other kids that are homeschooled as well.
Construction Academy. What is that? I've never heard of that.
Well, we built sheds, so it was learning like all the different parts of like construction, like in a house. It was just on a smaller scale.
That is really cool. Were you good at it?
It was okay. I definitely had some mistakes and stuff, but
I
in the
mean,
end,
of course.
so
Of
it
course,
was completely
everybody. Yeah, when you're trying something new. Do you see
yeah.
construction in your future? Or are you like,
There's a chance, yeah.
yeah?
It's always been something that's interested me. It's been cool to see things.
I have family members who are in construction and they are amazing, super hardworking, and so it's good work. It's good work. So, and it's a great skill to have. No matter what you do, whether you have your own home, anything like that, and something breaks, it's good to just know have another skill like that.
Yeah.
How old were you when COVID started?
Uh,
I'm trying to think.
11, I would say. Yeah, in 2020.
So, when everyone started to go back to school and you decided to stay home, was that your decision or your parents' like were you happy to stay home and finish school
Yes.
or were you kind of
It
upset?
was it was on my decision, and we kind of worked out how that would work and all that.
How does it work? Do you guys get have to like do kind of a workbook kind of thing? Or do you get does the state send you something? I actually don't know very much about homeschooling. How do you guys do it?
So in Colorado specifically, it's very lax in the sense of like we get to pick what I do. There are a
Okay.
few requirements, like I have to do state testing every year, but outside of that, it's really whatever I want to learn or
Okay.
we choose. So really simple tests. I mean, it's just off of what I've learned from everything else. So
I think that's awesome. And to graduate 2 years early, I know that actually is quite common because there's so much more stuff filled in with and school. You have sports, you have arts, you have music, you have different activities, which are all amazing and all valid.
yep.
But if you're just set to like, I'm just gonna go through this academically, I can see you just like blowing through it super fast.
I have some friends in public school that are like able to graduate early. They're just staying in it to just be able to stay in it and get the credits and knowledge, but I didn't
do
really want to. So
Do you feel like, I mean, since it's your choice, you probably don't care, but do you feel like you're missing out on anything, like any dances or events or anything like
I
that
mean, I'm
that
definitely missing out on them, but I don't feel like it matters, honestly. Like in my eyes, I didn't
okay.
really care to miss it.
I feel like you're an old soul, because those kinds of thoughts usually happen when you're a lot older and you're just like, why did I waste that time caring about some of that stuff when now you kind of see the big picture. And I
Yep.
feel like you're seeing that early, which is incredible. I think that's great. And it's probably allowing you to do things like, you know, become an author, right?
Yeah.
When was there a specific moment when you decided, okay, I really want to start writing professionally?
So a couple years ago, I want to say maybe 2022, I want to say it was. I went with my dad to what's called the Thrive Self-Reliance Expo. It's
Okay.
basically just a bunch of like survival brands. You have hunting brands, you have all that stuff there, and there were some post-apocalyptic authors, and I won some books, met some authors, talked to them. Um, One of them, DJ Cooper, who is still big inspiration in my writing, and she's been a big help. Um, we'll talk to, but she was the main one who gave me some books, and I read it, and I'm like, this is awesome. I'd love to write some stories in this genre, and I decided I wanted to. And over that summer, I spent time writing and ended up having a book by the end.
I think that that's amazing. And do you feel like you have a hard time keeping up with writing and anything else that you want to do, or because you have a little bit more free time, you actually have a lot of time to write?
I tend to have a lot of time. Like I keep it mixed up with reading, writing, and archery. Those are the big three. But I tend to have quite a bit of time.
It's the perfect life.
Yeah.
Everyone right now is jealous. Everyone watching this, or they're just like, I want to be that kid. I'm so jealous. That's amazing. That's really great. I love your book. So let's tell everyone real quick. So he wrote a book called Dead Wake, and it's not your first book either. You have a few books published now. So
That
how
is number four.
Okay, so let's hold off on this one for just a second because this one just came out. I was like the first one to buy it. I was like, let's get it. So, what book was your very first one? And how old were you when it was published officially?
So my first post-apocalyptic book was Colorado Fall. It
Okay.
was published in 23, I believe. I want to say early 23. And it's part of the October Fall World with 2 dozen or so other authors. Um, and it's about the same EMP event that knocks out the grid and all that, but from different points of views across the country. So mine is
Okay.
Colorado, obviously, and there's just a ton of other great stories too.
I love that. How did you get involved in that?
So after reading the books that I was given and found, I decided I wanted to write it. I was about halfway through writing it when I talked to DJ Cooper, who was already in the world and was in contact with the publishers and got me into their hands with the book. And they agreed to take me and help me learn to publish and write.
You are so lucky. Do you even know how lucky you are? You are so lucky. You are so lucky. There are people even now, on social media, and they're all just searching for that chance for someone to notice our book, to notice what they've written, to be, to have an agent, to just traditionally publish. Some people are end up being indie authors, which is amazing too. But everyone just is kind of hoping for that chance, and for you to have it. You're so lucky. It's great.
It's definitely been a lot of fun. That is my only book published with a publisher, just because it's through their world. The others are all self-published through Amazon KDP, by
Okay.
myself. So
See, but it gave you, do you feel like it gave you the confidence to branch off on your own and continue writing?
definitely, I
Yeah.
definitely think that's what started it all. Being able to get that opportunity was what pushed me over the edge.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy. And it's just going to grow, your knowledge of the world is going to grow, your knowledge of the writing, how things are done. You've already published, so you already know how to do a lot of things, and your knowledge is just going to keep growing and growing. Like, I can't wait to see what you write in like 15 years. If you keep writing.
I'm
I hope
definitely
you do.
looking forward to it too. It'll be fun.
Yeah. So, who is the most supportive person in your life when it comes to writing?
Definitely my parents and DJ Cooper for sure. They're the ones pushing me to do it and are helping me a lot.
I love it. Thank you, DJ Cooper. Thank you for getting him going. It's amazing. This is great. And thank you to your parents, right? Your parents, they sound incredibly supportive.
Yes, definitely.
Do you have anybody in your world who doesn't really take your writing seriously? You don't have to name names, but do you feel like, if you, being 16, do you feel like you ever talk to friends or anything like that? And you're like, yeah, I published a book. And they're kind of like, okay.
Never really encountered it like in person. I know there's definitely people out there that are like he's 16, he can't write that stuff, like that kind of stuff, but I've never really encountered it in person. It's never really been a bad interaction.
I'm really glad for that because, people, like you said, sometimes people see the age and the number and they think, oh,
Yeah.
what can he do? But I've read your book and it is really good. Do you want to continue to be an author as like your main source of income, or do you see yourself kind of having it more as a side hobby, something you just enjoy doing and not having the added pressures of a job?
I think for right now, trying to make that as the main source of income, see how it goes over the next couple of years and go from there.
This is Dead Wake. It just came out, right?
Yep, it came out on the first. It's about Logan Carrington, his mom and sister. They are on a cruise at the end of summer vacation. What they thought was going to be a vacation turned into the opposite when an EMP hits the mainland US and they get caught on the edge. So they're stuck on a ship without any power or electronics and they're floating away from the coast. So they're on the ship, they're in the midst of it. His dad is getting home from a deployment and decides he's going to go try to save them. So he starts making the journey south and eventually gets there, hopefully.
We'll see. You have to buy the book to find out. I absolutely loved the book. It was fantastic. I loved your connection with all the characters. It was just amazingly written. Do you feel like there was any characters that you found a deeper connection to? And do you find that there were characters that were actually really hard to write?
Logan is definitely one I connect with really well because I wrote him similar to myself, a teenager and whatnot. As for characters that were hard to write, I don't know that there really were any. There were definitely some struggles at some points, but for the most part, it was really simple, just piecing it together and making them work together, I guess.
Have you ever read any novels from Brandon Sanderson? He writes fantasy and sci-fi.
I don't think I have.
Okay. Brandon Sanderson has a video. He talks about it a lot. He has lectures that he does, and he talks about the difference between discovery writing and being an outliner. And
Mhm.
I think that when you're a discovery writer, you kind of have semi of an idea of a plot, and then it doesn't really form until you start writing. You know, you don't even know what characters are going to be in the book until you write it down on the paper. And then
That's definitely how I do it,
that's how
for
you do
sure.
it? Okay, I was
Yeah.
going to ask because there's the outliners and they have to have everything planned. I mean, they can draw maps, they list the characters, they give background stories to characters. I mean, everything is so detailed and everything is placed out that they know exactly how it's going to go from start to finish before they even, you know, start the first paragraph. So
Yeah.
I was
I've
going to
tried really
ask
hard to do
how
tried
you
really hard to
were.
do the outlining, and I struggle with it. I'd rather let it all build its way out as it goes and hope for the best, honestly. I feel like I sit there forever trying to think of like what the first chapter would be, let alone the 20th.
Right. No, I'm actually the same way. But I feel like there are not that many of us anymore. I feel like a lot of people are more outline writers. But I write the same way as you, which is really fun. The only problem is that I think that if you're an outline writer, the editing process is probably a lot smoother. Do you feel like it's hard to edit your books, especially after the first draft?
It's definitely hard to edit my stuff just because I want to critique it after I go through, but I don't find it particularly hard.
So for Dead Wake, was there a specific part of the book that you really liked writing the most?
Um, Honestly, I really just enjoyed the whole thing. It's hard to pick one spot in the book that I really enjoyed writing, as other discovery writers would know. Like you get an idea that for later in the book, so you're just excited to write that part, but then I just keep having that over and over. So it's really hard to have just one favorite part.
And do you have help? Do you have anyone that goes through them and reads it, like a beta reader, or your parents read it, or anything like that?
So on Dead Wake was actually the first one I had a true beta reader that I found, and I had my mom and her friend read it and have them help me find the plot holes or errors. But usually I just do it. I usually go through once or twice and make sure like the grammar, punctuation, all that makes sense and make sure everything's good there. And then I send it off to my formatting self and do the next steps.
That's great. Do you feel like you want to try to find someone to traditionally publish your books, or do you feel like you really enjoy being a self-published author?
I really enjoy being self-published. I feel like it makes it all easier doing it as you need it. Like I don't do my own covers. I have someone else do them. Because I'm not that kind of creative. I'm creative in the words, not in the art. Um, but I feel like it's definitely easier doing self-publishing rather than traditional, in my eyes at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a lot of people will look at it as, well, they shouldn't, but I know a lot of people take it as like a dig. You know, they send their book off and they're like, please, I want a traditional publisher to accept my novel. And they get rejection letter, rejection letter, rejection letter. And then they go, okay, I'm just going to self publish. Like it's a defeat, it's a
Yeah,
negative thing. But it doesn't have to be. And I feel like it's probably so uplifting and it's just such a relief to just say, I'm a self published author. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm doing it my way, and that's it. It must just feel really good and confident.
yeah. And now it's definitely hard to say that you're self-published because everyone's like, well, does that mean you ship all the books? Like you do all that? And it's like, no, I just do it through Amazon. It makes it real easy. And it's definitely crazy that you can just anyone can publish a book because Amazon exists the way that it does.
It's true. It's true. Can you tell me a little bit about the process for anyone who doesn't know how it works? How did you do it with Amazon?
On Amazon, you have your Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP as they call it. Um, and as long as you have a cover and manuscript, you just answer a couple of questions about the book, fill in all that, and it just makes a listing within 72 hours. And it's just simple. And then you just got to hook up your bank information if you want the money, and you're done.
If
It's
you want the money.
it takes 10 to 15 minutes to publish a book after
Wow.
everything's done.
So who does your cover art?
DJ Cooper, she runs Dauntless Cover Design. She does it for the publisher that does the October Fall World. She does all their covers and all that.
And she
So,
agreed to continue
yep,
to do your covers for you.
yes.
That's great.
Definitely been a blessing not having to find someone else.
That's great. See, like I said, it's those little connections that there's so many people out there in the world that do these jobs, but it can be so hard to find them. So I think that you already have such a head start from a lot of people. Do you have any advice for any young authors who are trying to just to start? You already said it's kind of easy, but I feel like there's probably a lot of young authors who want to do what you do, but are holding themselves back. Do you have any advice for them?
Just do it. Like if you want to publish a book, you just gotta sit down and write the words. It's that simple.
I just
It's
see
not a
like
lot of
Shia
effort.
LaBeouf in my head, like just do it. So just do it. That's it, right?
I definitely see it as the hardest part is getting started. Once you get started, it's easy from there.
So this is Dead Wake, and I read it personally. Like I said, it is a fantastic book, and the main character Logan, I actually now that I see your face, you're kind of how I pictured it to look like. I feel like you wrote yourself in this book. If you were in the same situation as the characters in the novel, do you think you would do things similarly? Do you think you would do well? You would survive?
I would probably survive. There's probably some things I would do different because, I got to put them in bad situations and whatnot to keep it going. But
A cruise ship. I mean, what a what a terrible place to be, right?
I definitely, when my mom finished reading it, she's like, I never want to go on a cruise. Never. I'm like, yeah, sounds about
Uh,
right.
so I already feel that way after Titanic. Still haven't gotten over that. I know there's like, there's pools and they make it all luxurious and it's amazing, but I'm still like, no, Titanic. I remember that.
Yeah. The main characters are at home, so you're able to you have all your food, you have all your supplies, and you're able to get it easier. Whereas on the ship, there's limited stock, and everyone else that's on it is stuck just like you are.
Yes, yes. And the captain was like, the vibes of the captain, I was just like, friend, foe, like, what is this guy? It really got to me. And then I just couldn't figure it out. And like I said, I don't want to spoil too much, but as I was reading it, I was just like, this is terrible. Not the book, but just like the situation. I was like, how are these guys going to get off this boat? And how is Mark the father gonna come in and help too? It was all just like it was fun. It was fun. The one thing that got to me was like how the ship was adrift itself.
Yep.
That's something I didn't really think about as well, and so that just added a whole nother level of paranoia to me. So thank you for that. The father in the book, he is a military man, and I just felt like when you were writing it, I don't know if it's because it's a guy thing or what, but I just felt like you had pretty good knowledge about military life and the mindset of it. Do you guys have family in the military or
My
friends?
dad was in the army for 9 years, and then that's how he ended up in Colorado for his other work. A lot of the knowledge comes from research of like what they do in certain situations and whatnot, but I definitely know a lot of the lifestyle from him being in the military, yes.
That's great. Well, please thank him for his service for me. And I have a lot of family who've been in the military, so yeah, I really respect everyone who's served, and I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. Thank you, and please thank your dad for me. Do you have this one? Just like I said, this one just got published. Do you have another book that you're working on right now, or anything that's kind of in your head, back of your head?
I have a handful of other things that I'm working on, some stuff in one of my other series and a couple of new series or standalone books as well. I'm always working on something.
Ah, I love it. I love it. You're such a great author, and it's like I said, it's just gonna keep improving because your skills are just gonna grow, and I think your advice of just let it all go and just do it. I think it's great advice. I really do. Have you ever thought going to like a Barnes and Noble or anything like that and doing a book signing with your books?
So I've thought about it. I actually visited our local bookshop. It just got bought out by a new owner, so I went down there and said hi, and there's possibility to do that there.
Deadwake is available here in It's on Amazon, but it's also linked down below. So if you'd like to buy Deadwake or any other of the novels, please go ahead and do so. Thank you so much for coming on Authors Go for Broke. I am so glad to have met you. Keep up the good work. Keep on writing. Please keep writing, whatever you do, and keep those connections going. Shaking hands, talking to people. You already have someone that does your cover art. You already have a publisher that you've worked with. You can always probably do something in the future. So yeah, just don't burn any bridges and just keep moving forward. And I see you as such a successful author. You already are, but I can just see it going crazy. And I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Thank you.